welcome back to my channel. My name is Shamika and this is Check the Rhymes. I am so spooked about today's show because, not just because it's October and it's almost Halloween, but y'all, I have joining me today paranormal investigator and the star of the Holzer Files, Dave Schrader, and he's going to talk a little bit about what we can expect on season 2. It kicks off on Thursday, October 29th at 11 o'clock on the Travel Channel. We're going to dig into a couple of the cases that we can expect to see this season, and then I'm going to get his take on, is candy corn good or no? Because y'all tripping out there. Candy corn reigns supreme. So let's get a little spooktacular and check out this interview. Stay tuned. Hi, Dave. Welcome to Check the Rhymes. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
I gotta ask you a question about something behind you because it looks like a Ouija board. So you gotta tell me, like, what are you over there doing?
Well, this is actually a spirit board, and it's one from the late 20s, early 30s. It's called a crystal gazer board. And actually, this board will make a cameo appearance in season 2 of the Holzer Files. I'm not one that fears different items when we investigate, but I have a healthy respect for them. And I believe that's why people have such a fear of Ouija boards. Listen, it had a great reputation up until the movie The Exorcist. Yes. That 30 seconds of screen time changed its life. So the spirit board, I don't think is something to be fearful of. It's all depending on the intention you put into communicating that can cause problems for you.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about what we can expect since you mentioned it. Season 2 kicks off on Thursday, October 29th at 11 o'clock on the Travel Channel. What can we expect to see this season?
Well, on the Holzer Files, we get a chance to go back in and reinvestigate the famous case files of the legendary paranormal investigator Hans Holzer. And Dr. Holzer wrote over 140 books, traveled around the world looking at the biggest claims of the supernatural and paranormal and reporting on them. He wanted to try to give an ending to some of these spirits, help them move on, or at least document their stories, because he knew it was important to hear what the spirits had to say. So we are going back in 40, 50, 60 years after his initial visits, re-examining these cases to see if the spirits have in fact moved on, or is there a new story to be told. So this season, I can promise you that when your viewers tune in to the Holzer Files, they're going to see some of the best paranormal activity that's ever been filmed or recorded. And I don't say that lightly because I am a skeptical believer. I've seen things, I believe in the paranormal, but I don't go down every rabbit hole in belief that everything is paranormal. What we capture this year is really astounding, and we capture some of the most amazing stories. In the season 1 kickoff, The Phantom Hand, a story out of Cleveland, Ohio, where this family was tormented by a ghost. And it was so real that the police were called in and they witnessed things, and it's well documented. It's a terrifying case that merges the paranormal and a serial killer. And this is really kind of an unconventional investigation for the team. And it takes us to new places and new scares.
You just gave me like goosebumps all over my arms listening to that. So tell me a little bit about, like, some of us sometimes we'll say, oh, I think there's a ghost in the house or there's some kind of spirit in here. How can we tell if there really is a spirit amongst, in our homes or in our cars or wherever, just hanging around? And then how do we get rid of it?
Well, I mean, you don't see that one right behind you?
Well, she's behaving right now while I'm on camera.
It's really kind of about being open to the location. Now, with that said, let me just tell you and your viewers, I don't recommend anybody investigate their home. I believe that when you do that, sometimes you open doors you don't want to open because we don't always know who we're inviting in. So be very cautious of that. But if you do have activity taking place at home, be aware of it. Sometimes just in setting rules, you can exist here, but please don't bother my children, or, leave me alone in the bathroom or bedroom. Those are the rules I have with the spirits of our home. So I try to, you try to put these things in play. The paranormal is still that unknown. That's what fascinates us. That's what all of the viewers want to know, is what happens next. Why are there ghosts that are here? Are there ghosts that can cross over and come back? And I think we deal with a wide swath of different type of spirits in this season. And One of the exciting parts of doing this job is we get to see some of the most historic places on Earth. And we get to go to the Surratt Tavern, where John Wilkes Booth visited right after he assassinated President Lincoln. We visit the conference house where Benjamin Franklin put his foot down against the king and their men and stood for America. That moment, pivotal in American history, could have changed the entire landscape of our history. We also are the very first team to ever get to investigate the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California, with nobody on board for the first time since 1967. Because of what's going on in the world around us, it's empty, and the ghosts are restless. And we go back in and uncover some really fascinating and kind of terrifying moments on the Queen Mary. So this season, I promise, is going to deliver some really good chills and a lot of great history and stories.
That sounds amazing. I'm already spooked, but I'm ready to check it out. So for my last question, Dave, I need you to settle this for me and all of my Twitter friends.
Okay.
Is candy corn the best Halloween candy or what?
As I've aged up, I've started to change. Candy corn, of course, was it, because who doesn't like to nibble off each colored piece as you're eating it down, right, to the nub, or shoving them in your gums so they look like vampire fangs. So they're versatile. They're versatile. But if I gotta call it out, Three Musketeer mini bars are my favorite way to go for the season. So, but that's just me. I'm kind of a weird guy that way.
That's okay, as long as you were still at one point on the candy corn train. Then that just makes my point that candy corn is still a supreme contender.
Hey, I'm telling you, Shamika, if there is a bowl of candy corn, I'm not going to say no to it. So we still have that kind of love-hate relationship with one another. I will still eat the candy corn and be pleased with it and then hate myself afterwards.
Of course, that's how it goes. Well, thank you, Dave Schrader, for joining me today on Check the Rhymes, and we will be sure to check out the Holzer Files this Thursday, October 29th at 11 o'clock on the Travel Channel. Have a great Halloween.
You too, and be safe and healthy this holiday season.